Sri Tattva, I am delighted to welcome all of you today to share a wonderful development. With us today, we have Sri Arvind Varchaswiji, Managing Director of Sri Tattva, and we have Dr. Ravi Reddy, Chief Science Officer, Sri Tattva, along with a prestigious panel of medical experts who are here to share some wonderful news with you. So Arvindji, I welcome you to come and announce the wonderful news that we are all waiting to hear.
Divyaji, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, and also people who are really health enthusiasts, welcome. Today, I'm very happy to announce that our proprietary medicine from Sri Tattva, named NOC-19, has got the approval from the Ministry of Ayush as a supportive drug for mild to moderate COVID-19 patients. In its actual words, as an add-on therapy for mild to moderate COVID-19 cases. Now, this is perhaps the very first of its kind in terms of a proprietary formulation that has undergone such extensive clinical trials. At Sri Tattva, which is inspired by Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankarji, we've always seen that we mold the very best of Ayurveda, being the ancient science, and also in terms of modern day technology, to see that this particular science is relevant even to date. This has been established by this particular approval that the drug has got here today by the Ministry of Ayush. It is a drug that has been championed by industry to ensure that how people, especially undergoing through this really unknown enemy, the pandemic, to see that what sort of a solution we could get. And we've really noticed, especially during the pandemic, that Ayurveda definitely has solutions. And Sri Tattva stands here today with NOC-19 as a testament to this. So ladies and gentlemen, with great pride, I'm here to announce the launch of a COVID-19 supportive medicine for mild to moderate COVID-19 here by Sri Tattva called NOC-19. You're all welcome to experience this at www.srishitattva.com. And I also welcome you to download the app, and it's available across India as we speak right now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we have a photo session with the
Yes.
here?
Yes.
I think the video would like to have that.
I would like the entire team also to come across, if that is possible. Can you all just stand here? Can we take a... Is that okay?
And the extra drug possible?
Yes.
We have a
Yeah. Wait.
Pankaj,
Yeah.
would you like to come this side?
Please come.
And Abhishek ji can come this side.
Yes, I would love that the entire panel here. It wouldn't have happened if not for all of them.
Yeah.
Come, please come.
Center
Huh? Center में आ जाओ. Come, let's all come to the center.
Okay, come.
आगे आ जाइए. इधर आ जाइए.
I now invite Dr. Ravi Kumar Reddy, Chief Science Officer of Sri Tattva, to come and share with us some of the science and the development behind this compound. We might have to move this.
Thank you, Divyaji. And then it's nice occasion to be present here. सबका हिंदी दिवस का बधाई है. तो आज अच्छा मौका भी है, अच्छा शुभ दिन भी है. हम नॉक 19 का लॉन्च भी हुआ. तो ये दिस इज अ सबका मालूम है, these are things that herbs आयुर्वेदा में हर हर्ब का डिफरेंट हर्ब्स आर देयर, लाइक तुलसी है, सबका मालूम है, ऐसा गिलोय है, and then we have ashwagandha. So these herbs we all just put together into a formulation and made it into a knock 19. And it's not that like this is a during the pandemic we had combination of this, taken a reference from the Ayurveda. We call it as a Janapadodvamsa, which is in Ayurveda. It is clearly mentioned that how these contagious diseases will happen. So from that, taken in the context, so these herbs which are helpful in the antiviral, antibacterial, and also the respiratory symptoms. So where it is having efficacy, like haldi, tulsi, and giloy. So these are all put together and made into a combination of a like 13 herbs all put together, and few of the herbs were taken extent to potentiate the formulation. Few of the extracts also added to this and made it into a combination of a tablet called as a knock 19. In this knock 19, the thorough research has taken up, and where this combination happened thoroughly from the preclinical studies, like we call it as a in vitro studies, to establish the safety and efficacy of the product, and also the toxicity studies. Like if you see that, so this is a combination that the knock 19 is having. So where tulsi, ashwagandha, bilwa, sabko malum hai, like bale, and then the haldi and giloy, and also few antiviral, like very specific drugs which are not used, and then we're having a more efficacies, like called as a pata. So these are some of the things specially chosen for this, which is having a thorough supportive evidence in the clinical data for single herbs. Then next slide, please. So when we develop this formulation, we follow a protocol. It's not that like just a combination is put together and made into a tablet. So each herb will be individually, thoroughly literature review of all the things, or the scientific data is well established and then taken out, and all put together we made a combination. And that combination we subject to first for the in vitro studies to see the efficacy and how it is working at the lab level. And then we move on to the second level, like in vivo studies, where how it is working in the animal studies. And then once that the safety and the toxicity, like it is not doing any harm on the like in the animal in vivo studies, and also proving the efficacy, then we move to the clinical trials. So that's what today we are happy to announce, like show you some of the clinical trials that are taken out. My doctors colleagues will share that how this, though it is like in a step by step manner. So these are the complete thorough that is taken up in the research and development, the protocol, where all the steps are taken and ensure that before it reaches to the mark, like it reaches to the human use, all the parameters like safety, efficacy will be taken care, and it should not be the harm, and well established that. So this is going to helpful for the human without any question for that. And also the dose, so they're like, we know that like many times we'll be under like how much to use. So that is also thoroughly established, and then it is released to the like after the clinical trials we use that dosage also, and then used to the market as such. In the next slide. So this, like when we take on the herbs, So the herbs are the efficacy, how we test it by we call it as a chemical markers in the herbs. So that chemical in like constituents of each herb, to like we will test by the called as a chromatograms, like it's called as a HPLC, and each herb will be tested for its like potency of it. And the potency, हम तुलसी ले लेते हैं तो how that tulsi and the giloy, what is the efficacy of it, like how much potency it is having, what is the active constituent in, so that all we will be processed through that. Next. And so like if you see that it is also another chromatogram where in the in process how this, like once you mix all the, like make that powders of the different herbs and put together, and how these during the formulation, how it will be like the same characteristics of the active constant that are present in the raw material is thoroughly come into the formulation. So that is also established in the in process techniques, and the finished product is made following the good manufacturing practices, so that like a proper SOP, and then the batch on batch the validation of the things also is established, and ensure that the same repeated, we can call it as the same efficacy will be happening the batch on batch, and also the results will be there, that like it's not that like ek bar ho gaya to nahi hoga. So it's a continuous thing, that improvement that will be continuous established standard operating procedures we will be following in the manufacturing, and do this formulation as regularly in that. Thank you very much. Like I hand over to Divyaji for the next clinical trials efficacies.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. I wanted to mention that I would like to emphasize that the entire research that has happened on NOC19 has been independent, conducted by prestigious institutes in India. You can see there have been more than 8 study sites across which NOC19 was tested. So it is not just one particular demography. Across multiple states in India, it has been tested on patients. Next slide, please. Before I invite the PIs, I just wanted to say that more than 8 studies have been conducted on NOC19. And we are very happy that some of the principal investigators from various sites that conducted the human clinical trial are here with us, and they'll be sharing some of the findings. Next slide, please. Before we went into human trials, these are some of the key findings. Across all the human clinical trials, we saw an earlier recovery in the NOC19 arm in terms of RT-PCR, as well as in terms of clinical recovery, and which is symptomatic recovery, which again, I would request the PIs to share more. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Then PIs will share this. Next slide. Yeah. The like Dr. Ravi said, we first started with an in vitro study at an institute in Bangalore called Foundation for Neglected Disease Research, where we saw 100% efficacy of NOC19 in preventing the virus from entering the cells. So this was our first study that gave us a positive indication. And then we moved on to the next slide, please. In vivo study, which is an animal study, to see if there is any adverse events. We found very encouraging results. The animals were very healthy, and they actually had minimal reduction in body weight, which is an interesting finding, because when COVID happens, usually the animals get very sick. But with the NOC19, not only did they have an antiviral effect, but also their body weight was preserved. So the animal was quite healthy. Now, before I move on to next, the human clinical trials, I would like to first invite Dr. Pankaj Bharadwaj, Dean of Research and Additional Professor of Community Medicine and Family Medicine from AIIMS Jodhpur, to talk about one of the clinical trials that happened on NOC19 in AIIMS Jodhpur. Thank you, Dr. Pankaj.
Thank you, Divyaji. I think at the outset, I would like to extend thanks to the organization for this opportunity. Many of us know that we at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur, or any All India Institute of Medical Sciences in India, we talk about 2-3 things where it's not just the patient care or patient services. It's more about developing those research protocols or using those drugs where we can have an integrative system of medicine also. So AIIMS always promote integrative system of medicine, where we try testing, validating the kind of investigational products which are being given to us under total ethical practices. We call them as the good clinical practices. So when it comes to the study results, so All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur was the lead, but there were two more institutions along with us. We have AIMS Rishikesh, and we have one more institute from Pondicherry or Puducherry. We call it as Sri Manakula Vinayagar Medical College. So the drug was given to the mild and moderate cases, which were admitted to our hospital. You all know that at the time of COVID, they were designated COVID-19 hospitals, and AIMS was one of those centers. So हमने माइल्ड और मॉडरेट में 150 केसेस इन 3 हॉस्पिटल्स में जो थे वो लिए. 2 आर्म थी. इट इज अ डबल ब्लाइंड स्टडी एंड कोविड ये जो नॉक 19 ड्रग था, ये इन्वेस्टिगेशनल प्रोडक्ट था, दैट वाज गिवन एज एन एड ऑन थेरेपी. हमने 2 क्लिनिकल एंड पॉइंट्स या एक प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव था और एक सेकेंडरी ऑब्जेक्टिव. व्हेन इट कम्स टू द प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट ये रखा गया था, अगर आपको याद हो उन दिनों, कि आरटीपीसीआर नेगेटिव होने में कितना समय लगता है, नंबर 1. नंबर 2 ये था कि ड्यूरेशन ऑफ स्टे इन हॉस्पिटल, बिकॉज आपको याद होगा कि बहुत ज्यादा क्रंच था लॉजिस्टिक्स का एंड हॉस्पिटल्स की जरूरत थी, बेड्स की जरूरत थी. तो एक एंड पॉइंट ये रखा गया था कि ड्यूरेशन ऑफ स्टे इन हॉस्पिटल क्या होगा. और तीसरा, क्या कोई पॉसिबल साइड इवेंट्स या साइड इफेक्ट्स एक्स्ट्रा देखने को मिलते हैं अगर हम कोविड-19 में नॉक 19 का यूज करते हैं. तो सेकेंडरी एंड पॉइंट्स लेबोरेटरी के मार्कर्स थे. दे वर बेस्ड ऑन the kind of inflammatory markers you know about. अब हम बहुत सारे लोगों को पता है CRP के लेवल्स क्या थे, या हमारा लिवर एंजाइम्स कैसे अरेंज या डीरेंज हो रहे थे. So that was also the secondary endpoints. So we look at the overall broad, जो अगर आप हमसे कहें कि हमने रिजल्ट्स कैसे देखें, so the outcomes were tested at day 3 and day 7. और डे 3 पर इस केस में हमें 53.3% केसेस हमारे जो एड ऑन थेरेपी पर थे नॉक 19 में, वो नेगेटिव हो गए थे ऑन थर्ड डे. इट वाज अराउंड 15 to 20% डिफरेंस था नेगेटिविटी में, जो एक उस आर्म में जिसमें हमने प्लेसिबो दिया था एड ऑन की तरह से, और एक तरफ जिसमें हमने नॉक 19 दिया. सो 15 to 20% इज अ बिग डिफरेंस व्हेन इट कम्स क्लिनिकली व्हेन देयर इज अ इफेक्ट. 7वें दिन की बात करें कितने नेगेटिव हुए थे, तो करीबन 89% इन द एड ऑन थेरेपी विद नॉक 19 एंड अगेन 74% इन डिफरेंट आर्म. अगेन अ 15 to 20% डिफरेंस, व्हिच इज अगेन अ बिग डिफरेंस. जब आरटीपीसीआर नेगेटिविटी की बात करते हैं, सो उसमें भी हमें बहुत अच्छा इफेक्ट देखने को मिला था. 4.6 डेज पर आरटीपीसीआर एवरेज नेगेटिव हो रहे थे. इफ सो जो हमारे 2 आउटकम्स हमने रखे थे, पहला कि आरटीपीसीआर नेगेटिविटी अर्ली होती है या नहीं, दैट वाज गुड. That was found in this add-on therapy. The second was duration of stay in the hospital, because we need a kind of a circulation of beds. We need beds in the hospital. That was also there. And कोई added side effect या कोई अलग से side effect देखने को नहीं मिला था. एक और चीज जो स्लाइड में नहीं लिखी है, that's about quality of life. When we actually had a talk with the patients who were having the NOC 19 as an add-on therapy, they talk about that they feel better. This is also, we call it as a quality of life indicators, and there was a kind of a feeling which they feel that they were getting better when this add-on therapy was given. So I think these are the outcomes or results which we could see with the use of NOC 19 as add-on therapy from these 3 sites: AIMS Jodhpur, Rishikesh and Puducherry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pankaj ji. I would also like to mention that NOC 19 is one of the few Indian Ayurvedic drugs that is also being researched in Europe and US. We are very lucky to have Dr. Jayashree with us. She is the director of new BSL-3 in vitro lab from Stanford University, where in US, where NOC 19 is currently being researched. We would like to invite Dr. Jayashree. She is joining us online to is she there?
Yeah, hello everybody. Can you hear me? Hello everybody. Hello from California, Stanford University. I am working in Stanford in the BSL-3 as a director and investigating the NOC19 compound on various cell lines. I'm happy to collaborate with Sri Tattva to... Hello, Soumya.
Hi, Jayashree. Yeah, you are okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We'll have surgery. You can come on audio. You can just be on audio.
I am on audio. So I can talk with you. You're saying that I can talk to you about this?
Yeah, 1 second, Jayashree. I'll put you on the microphone. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, hi everybody. Yeah, we at Stanford BSL-3 are investigating NOC19 compound in collaboration with Sri Tattva. We are conducting in vitro studies in various cell lines to see the antiviral efficacy of NOC19. And studies are underway, and we are seeing a very promising result for antiviral efficacy. And we are happy to conduct COVID-19 antiviral studies for NOC19, which is approved by Ministry of Ayush, India. Thank you.
Thank you. There are institutes outside India who are also interested in studying these medicines. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Abhishek Arun, Clinical Research Head, Diabetologist and Endocrinologist, Atharva Multi-Speciality Hospital and Research Center, Lucknow, which was another site where an independent study on NOC19 was conducted. Dr.
Thank you, Divya ji. First, I would like to thank Sri Institute for inviting me to be a part of this study. And at Athar, it was a totally COVID-dedicated hospital where we did this particular study. We had almost 124 study subjects which were included in this particular study. And as Dr. Pankaj said, we had primary and secondary endpoints, which have already been told to you. The highlights which we can see in our particular studies was again, if you look at the number of people who were turning to be RT-PCR negative and comparing NOC19 with the placebo. So almost 33% patients, they actually recovered in the NOC19 arm by the day 3, which was good number, and almost 1/3. That means almost 1/3 people recovered. And another interesting point which we noted at our study was the immunized people. So we also want to talk about the immunized COVID people now, because it's a major concern. So all those people who are fully immunized, they turned COVID negative within 2 days once they consumed NOC19. So, and the quality of life of all these patients was very good. And there were no side effects at our sites, which were actually noted. And talking about day 7, so if you compare these two arms, so almost 82% patients in the NOC19 arm, they turned to be RT-PCR negative compared to the placebo arm, which was only 72%. So these were the major findings at our site. And I think the drug really worked well, and all the patients didn't show any serious kind of side effects, and we are looking forward for the launch.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Abhishek. We have now, actually, NOC19's clinical trials were conducted at 5 different sites in India. We also have one more site from Odisha, Sri University. We would like to invite Dr. Pradeep Kumar Panda, Dean of Sri College of Ayurvedic Sciences and Research from Sri University, to come and share the findings of the study.
Thank you, Divyaji. Good afternoon to everybody. It is a great privilege for us that Sri Tattva has given chance for this research work under Sri College of Ayurvedic Science and Research Hospital under Sri University. At that time, our college was having a COVID care center. On that occasion, we have done this clinical research. In gist, I am going to say you that that was a double-blind randomized controlled trial of mild and moderate cases. We have conducted 50 patients. There are 2 arms. One arm is having NOC19 arm and another was having placebo arm. After administration of this drug to these two arms, it has been observed that the patient, those who are having RT-PCR positive, after 5 days, there are 76% patients are having RT-PCR negative on NOC19 arm. But in case of placebo, that was not that. As regards to the clinical recovery, there are 40% are seen in NOC19 arms, but only 5% are seen in placebo arms. After completion of the study on 10 days, it has been observed that all the patients are having RT-PCR negative, along with the complete recovery from all signs and symptoms. It is a very tremendous work, and I think that this drug is definitely acting on this viral as a viral treatment in COVID-19 patients. Thank you. That this is Sri Tattva giving me us for this opportunity. Thank you from our Sri University side. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Panda. And lastly, we also had a rural India-based study because most of the COVID research has happened in cities. But we also had a rural study that happened through the Doctors for You organization. And we have Rohini ji with us to come and share the results of the clinical trial that was conducted in a rural Indian setting in Karnataka by Doctors for You.
Good afternoon. The advantage to going last is that everyone's covered most of our points, which is excellent. Thank you so much, Divya. Doctors for You played a very prominent role during the COVID. In fact, we started working COVID during the first wave itself, managing over 10,000 beds and helping over 70,000 patients during all three waves. We are a humanitarian based organization. We have a strong rural presence, and when we were approached in 2001 by Sri Tattva, we were happy to be part of this study. I want to talk a little bit about the locations. See, rural locations have their own challenges, not the least being supply chain challenges. How do you get the drug to the location without compromising its efficacy? Make sure that, how do you lab linkages? How do you make sure all the tests that you need are conducted in time? Where do you find the labs that can conduct all those tests? So, those are some of the challenges that I wanted to mention. As far as the study, we over 3 months, I think November through March, we enrolled 100 patients in the study. Our selection criteria were pretty straightforward. Patients were between the ages of 18 to 65, COVID positive, mild to moderate as defined by standard protocols at that time. They had to agree to give an informed consent, and like I mentioned, not pregnant or lactating women. We did not. We made sure we excluded those. We're very as you can see on the slide, we had statistically significant results between the two groups. As Dr. Pankaj and the other doctors mentioned, it was a randomized double-blind control study. The patients did not know whether they were part of the control group or the trial group. They were given the dose 2 times a day after food. They looked identical, so the formulation, so and again, double blind, so the person giving the medicine also did not know what they were doing, what they were giving, whether it was actually the formulation, whether it was NOC19 or the placebo. The placebo was 100% starch. As far as the outcomes, if you look at the rate of recovery, RT-PCR, we had a baseline measure at day 0, day 3 and day 7, and you can see on the graph the difference between the patients who were given NOC19 versus the patients who were given the placebo. And you can also see again a very statistically significant difference at day 7. The other thing that I want to point out, which some of the researchers have pointed us, patients were given standard treatment protocols, and this was an add-on. So one of the things that we tracked very closely was adverse events. Was there a difference in the two groups? Was there the increase in adverse events when this formulation was given? And there were none. So that's very, very positive as well. I think that kind of covers the gist of the study. We can take questions later if you like, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rohini. Thank you, Dr. Rohini. I think we will open the floor to questions now.
So
Coming to you just in a moment. I just wanted to mention to all of you here that this is such a proud moment, not only for Sri Tattva, but also for the entire medical fraternity. I think this is perhaps one of the largest trials that have been carried out by any organization per se, whereby bringing the very best of Ayurveda and allopathy together, where we're putting the patients first. It's not about which particular system is greater than the other. But having said this, that all systems are coming together and doing something good for humanity per se. And also, one more thing that I wanted to make a mention to you, that we've all seen that Ayurveda definitely has a whole lot of efficacy when it comes to preventive measures. And that is something that what NOC19 also has, saying that it is a good preventive also, and also as an antiviral. But we wanted to take this to the next level and look at its efficacy on the curative aspect as well. And today, we stand here as a testament that we have the Ministry of Ayush's approval as a supportive, medicine and drug here for mild to moderate COVID-19. And this is something that what Sri Tattva also wants to, bring across and show to the world, that Ayurveda and the Ayush systems are extremely relevant even to date. It's just that we need to, of course, bring across proper SOPs and also standards that what we need to allocate to it. And even at Sri Tattva, we have the WHO CGMP standards and also all international protocols that what needs to be done. And from Sri Tattva side, we ensure that we're not only taking Ayurveda that's, from India to India, but also to the world as well. So I'm very happy to note and also make a mention to you that apart from India, there are also other countries that are also interested to see that how they could take NOC19 and also make it useful for their people over there. Thank you very much. Yes. हाँ जी, तो अभी now there is interest in the African countries. जैसे कि आपको अभी मालूम होगा कि अफ्रीकन देशों में बहुत सारे एंटीवायरल होते हैं और वायरल चीज़ें होते हैं और and also malarial. So this particular drug and also the other drugs that what Sri Tattva has definitely has a lot of demand, and specifically NOC19 right now. And now that it also has the Ministry of Ayush's approval, I'm sure that it will be very well taken care of in other countries as well. And as we speak, the medicine is also exported to Europe and also to US, and also very soon to the Middle Eastern countries and Africa right now, जहाँ की बहुत interest आ रहा है, जहाँ की घाना में, नाइजीरिया में, युगांडा में, टांजानिया में, इधर सब देशों में बहुत सारा अभी interest आ रहा है. There, people are really looking at the aspect as to how herbal medicine can make a difference in their life. And we've seen that this is something that what India has definitely kept itself and also given across to the world. And I'm very happy to make a note over here that the government of India, the Ministry of Ayush, and also the Honorable Prime Minister, who's got across a separate ministry for this entire science, is really giving a great base for the science to evolve and thrive. And also recently when Dr. Tedros also came across here to India, we've seen that the ministry also has set up an Ayush Export Promotion Council to take the authentic Ayurveda, both products and practices across the country and also to the world. And Sri Tattva is also a very proud founding member of this particular council. Thank you very much.
प्राइस क्या है, प्रोडक्ट सेम है?
Yeah, so the price of the product and the quantity of the products, we are ensuring that we are coming out with 60 tablets, that is there. And also the details, the entire details of the product, I would invite you to come on to our website, www.srishitatva.com, and it is available. Any other details that whatever you require over there, it is most definitely available for you over there.
What is the production size or the market size you are looking at in terms of numbers? Because you said that it is to be utilized in India and abroad as well. So what is the, if I may say in 3 to 4 quarters, what is the market size you are looking for your product?
See, when we launched this particular product, the main aim of this product was to ensure that we first make it, available for people, and we ensure that the pandemic is, eradicated. If you see, the very essence and the time of research of this particular product was during the second wave, when the Delta variant came out, and it was extremely, notorious, and it really took a whole lot of people away. So the entire essence of this particular product is not to look at its market size, but to really see that how we can benefit people at large. But definitely, this is a product that what we would like to take across to the masses and export it across to the countries wherever Sri Tattva is there. And right now, as what I mentioned to you, a whole lot of countries are showing interest to this, but there are regulatory things that what need to be taken care of in those countries, what Sri Tattva is taking care of. This much I can tell you, that there is definitely a whole lot of interest. I wouldn't want to put a number to it as of right now, because the amount of interest that is being shown nationally and internationally is certainly very encouraging for now. But definitely it is very, very encouraging.
Does this product go as a food supplement abroad, or does it go as a medicine? And has WHO, if you have approached WHO, because if it goes abroad, then WHO will come into the figure.
Correct. So as of right now, as what I mentioned to you, that we've got the approval from here in India. So based on this particular approval, there are registrations that what need to happen. I'm very happy to share with you that Sri Tattva is perhaps one among the first organization, and also the first organization to get the ANMAT GMP as far as even Argentina goes for Ayurveda. We have the herbaceutical license when it comes to the Ministry of Health in Oman, and also the Ministry of Health in UAE. Sri Tattva also has as a botanical medicine in terms of Ministry of Health in Canada as well for our medicines. So we are going to register this particular drug as an Ayurveda medicine. And as what I mentioned to you, that Sri Tattva is also very much a part of the Ayush Export Promotion Council that has been recently set up. So we are here to ensure that Ayurveda is recognized as a system of medicine worldwide, and not only with regards to the medicines, but also the doctors. Ayurveda is something that is very dependent on its doctors. So we are working for both the recognition of the medicine as well as the doctors as well. Sorry? Yes. So as what I mentioned to you, that so I covered that in the initial part, whereby I mentioned that NOC19 can be used, of course, as a preventive, as a prophylactic, but here we established its efficacy with regards to it being on the curative aspect as well, whereby we have got an approval from the Ministry of Ayush as a supportive drug, as also in its in its own words, as an add-on therapy for mild to moderate COVID-19 medicines. Hanji.
और 78% केसेस में लंग्स इन्वॉल्व नहीं होते हैं, तो आपने कैसे डिफरेंशिएट किया कि वो नॉर्मली ठीक होने वाले केस थे या आपकी मेडिसिन का असर है? कैसे आपने डिफरेंशिएट किया, क्योंकि माइल्ड कोविड अपने आप भी रिकवर हुए हैं पेशेंट?
I'm happy to take this question, but I would like to see that my panelists also here answer these particular technical questions. Pankaj ji, may I give it to you?
ओके तो आपका ये सवाल बहुत अच्छा है मैडम, थैंक यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग दिस क्वेश्चन. बट जब हम स्टडी डिजाइन्स बनाते हैं, या जो हमने रैंडमाइज कंट्रोल ट्रायल जिसे हम कहते हैं, उसमें ये जो आपने रैंडम थॉट्स बताए, यही बैलेंस हो जाते हैं. तो हमने बोला एक आर्म में स्टैंडर्ड ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा था, दूसरे आर्म में भी स्टैंडर्ड ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा था, एक एड ऑन थेरेपी दी गई, तो स्टैंडर्ड बैलेंस हो गया. तो जो आपका क्वेश्चन है कि वो खुद सही हुए या खुद नहीं सही हुए, वो चांस दोनों आर्म को बराबर दिया गया. So this is how actually we do these kind of study trials, that this chance factor is taken care of in both the arms by the process of randomization. So आपका सवाल बिल्कुल सही है कि randomization के process से हमने इस chance factor को balance कर दिया. तो जो add-on therapy है उसका effect हम इसमें फिर मानते हैं. Hope I could address it well.
Thank you, sir.
एक सवाल जो मेडिसिन से आ रहा है वो ये कि पीछे हमने कोरोनियल के बारे में देखा ही had lot of fuss, but it has lot of fuss as well. And hope Sri Tattva's NA-19 doesn't have that issue, and I assume that you are well aware of the negative impact, if at all it is.
Thank you very much for your question. And also for your good wishes for NOC19 to do well. This much I can tell you that today we are here to speak on the efficacy of NOC19. This particular drug, as you can see that how Sri Tattva has approached it, is that we've ensured that we bring across our PIs over here who are involved, and they're here and very happy to take on any particular questions. At Sri Tattva, what we wanted to ensure is that the medicine, when it is approved, we would bring across the sort of approval that what we have from the Ministry of Ayush, and we are very happy, that through the ministry support, we do have this particular approval here today, and it stands on its own merit. And I'm very, very proud of this entire team who've actually put this all together, especially during the second wave of COVID, which was all the more detrimental, and people lost a whole lot of their families and their loved ones. So here, in terms of NOC19, we've ensured that it's not only that the medicine that what we give importance to, but how we also communicate it, and also the processes that what has been followed. So we leave no stone unturned to ensure that we take both regulatory and mandatory steps that are required to be fulfilled before we come here to this press conference. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, definitely. And one more thing that what I invite all of you is that I would invite all of you to go and visit our website www.srisritattva.com, and also more amount of information of NOC19 is also given across to all of you through your press kit, and also a couple of other products to really see that all of you use them. They're all daily use products that will really make a difference to your life, and also quality products made in India, and very, very proud. But thank you very much for coming here. It's been such a pleasure spending time with all of you. And the entire panel here, I thank each and every one of you here. Thank you very much.